911, what is the address of your emergency?
My name is Tom Martins. I'm at 160 Panther Creek Court, and we need help.
Okay. What's going on there?
My daughter's husband, my son-in-law, got in a fight with my daughter. I intervened, and I think he's in bad shape. We need help.
Okay, what do you mean he's in bad shape? He's hurt?
He's bleeding all over, and I may have killed him.
Jason Corbett was brought up in Janesborough in County Limerick. When he was in his early 20s, he met Margaret Fitzpatrick, who ran a creche in the town of Raheen. The couple married, and their first child, Jack, was born in 2004. They then had a girl, Sarah. When Sarah was only 3 months old, Margaret suffered a fatal asthma attack. As with any family in that situation, juggling work and parenting is a challenge, and Jason advertised for the services of an au pair to help so he could raise his children while working at the packaging plant in Limerick where he was a manager. Molly Martins answered Jason's au pair ad in 2008, and the Tennessee woman moved to Ireland to take up that position. Over time, the relationship between Jason and Molly deepened, and they became a couple. He and Molly and the children later moved to the US to start a new life together, and they married there in 2011, settling down in the exclusive Meadowlands estate on the edge of a scenic golf resort. Jason's employers were able to organise a transfer for him, and he was appointed plant manager in Multi-Packaging Solutions, based in Lexington, North Carolina.
Jason had an abundant amount of personality, and he was he cared. He was very compassionate. Sometimes that's like a missing link with some of your coworkers, and especially managers. Not all of them, obviously, but Jason had a special touch about really being compassionate, really caring.
I loved him. He liked us. He was personable. He came to us if he had questions, or if we had questions, it was we could approach him and ask him, and he knew if he did not know the answer, he knew someone that did have the answer, and he was just amazing.
He just fit right in with us. He joked with us and played around with us, and just a friend.
He was such a great guy. He got to know everyone, not just the people he worked with.
In August 2015, Molly's father, former FBI agent Thomas Martins, was visiting Jason, Molly and the children with his wife. In the early hours of August 2nd, Thomas Martins killed Jason by striking him over the head with a baseball bat. Prosecutors claimed that Jason was killed because his relationship with Molly was fractured, and he wanted to move back to Ireland with his children, but without Molly. But attorneys for Thomas Martins said he acted in self-defence after hearing a row between Jason and Molly and allegedly finding Jason choking his daughter when he went to investigate.
Typically we average about 5 to 7 homicides per year in Davidson County. We're the 10th largest county in North Carolina, so we're fortunate to have that low a rate of homicide. Most of our homicides do involve people who are known to each other. We have very few situations where strangers are involved, and it's usually the outgrowth of a domestic situation. We do have some situations where some robberies have been involved, but not often. But it's a relatively rare occurrence.
While Jason's family were still struggling to cope with their grief at his violent death, they were plunged into a transatlantic custody battle for his 2 children. Jack was 10 and Sarah was 8 when their father was killed. Not yet charged in relation to Jason's death, Molly set about trying to secure custody of Jack and Sarah. The reaction to that from across the Atlantic in Limerick was Jason's sister Tracy Lynch getting on a plane. She flew to Davidson County with Jason's will, in which he had stated that in the event of his death he wanted both of his children placed into her care. The battle was fought in a courtroom, and a judge ruled that the children should be taken from Molly and brought to Ireland. Only when they came back was their father's funeral held. By this stage, Molly had left Lexington and was living back in Tennessee, from where she took to social media, sending messages of love to the children and the entire world, posting pictures of them too. She was ordered by the court to stop such actions, but the images she had posted remain on her Facebook page today. Molly appealed the custody ruling, but ultimately lost. The children are now being raised in Limerick by Tracy and her husband David. In January 2016, Molly Martins and her father were formally charged with second-degree murder and voluntary manslaughter. The town of Lexington, home to Davidson County Courthouse, has a proud tradition of being the barbecue capital of the United States. It is small, the people are courteous and friendly, and in the main, everyone gets along. Tucked neatly into southern state Bible Belt America, the town has a lot of churches, and the old courthouse, built in 1858, is recognised as the historic cornerstone of Lexington. So when a trial such as a father and daughter being accused of murder comes to town, it brings with it a host of local, national and international media attention.
The fact that you have a guy from Ireland getting killed in the way he did. I think the fact that you have his wife and his father-in-law charged. You have a fairly contentious child custody case with 2 small children involved. And the fact that the second wife was an au pair, the first wife died of a sudden asthma attack, so you have all kinds of interest because of that. I think there's just a whole bunch of elements that just combine to make this, just that draws people in.
Defence teams for Molly and Thomas Martins tried to have the trial moved from Davidson County to another court, claiming the pair could not receive a fair trial due partly to the publicity the case generated. In the Irish justice system, we charge people with murder or manslaughter when it comes to homicide cases, but in the US there exists a different bracketing of potential charges that an accused killer can come under. This also varies state by state. Local attorney Alexander Stubbs of the Winston Law Group explained how charges in Davidson County differ from those on this side of the Atlantic.
In North Carolina we have first-degree murder, and first-degree murder is a willful, deliberate, intentional, premeditated killing of another person unlawfully. So the key to first degree is that it is premeditated. Second degree murder is kind of a catch-all. It's every other murder. The difference is that there's no premeditation. There's still malice. Then you'd go one step down and you have your manslaughters. And voluntary manslaughter is an intentional killing, but it's a heat of passion crime, or it's an intentional killing from provocation.
Today, a memorial and tree dedicated to Jason stand in the car park of the plant outside his office. The trial in Lexington may have lasted more than 3 weeks, but Jason will be remembered by his family and friends on both sides of the Atlantic forevermore.